Chapter 12, Style and Function of Music in Society. This is really what the course is about, is comparing style periods. Most cultures around the world, right, employ either sacred music or secular music or both. And it's either one or the other. You could just say all music is either sacred music or it's secular music. Genre, right? We talked about that. There are many genres or categories of music. Some works cross over categories, borrowing elements of one genre for use in another. For instance, the Benjamin Britten's theme and variations and fugue on a theme of Henry Purcell, right? He borrows from the 16th century, 17th century, and then he quotes it in his 20th century music. So there's two genres intermixed there. And we use the word medium to refer what is the ensemble or what is the characteristic of the performing or group or individual, right? Is it solo piano, would be a medium, or solo voice, or is it a string quartet? Is it an orchestra, string orchestra, or a symphony orchestra? In painting, we might say the medium could be oil painting or water painting or acrylic painting or sculpture, right? They're all a different medium. Some music is not written down, but is known through oral transmission. And generally, that is the definition of what folk music is, but there's different kinds of folk music. And the oral transmission of music in many ways freezes it in time. A lot of the music that we or is sung on the streets in Arabia is the same music that was sung 2,000 years ago, and it's just passed on from one person to another, an older person to a younger person, right? So we say this is an oral transmission. It's not written down. What is style, right? The distinctive features of any artwork, the distinctive features. How would you describe that, right? A musical style is created through individual treatment of the basic musical elements. How do I use those basic elements? Do I use it in a similar way to others, right? This is style. And it's typically we organize, right? We've talked about this already, styles of artworks into historical periods. Here's the historic periods, each with his own characteristics. So sacred music is usually functional, right? It serves some kind of purpose. It's like, oh, at this point of this ceremony, we say these words and we sing this song. So that's kind of what sacred music is. And secular music generally doesn't have a purpose than entertainment, but if it's for a dance, right, that would be secular music, and it would have it would be functional secular music, as opposed to just sitting in a chair and having the music performed on stage. Genre versus form. So genre suggests character, and they give an example. They say and function, so song and symphony. And form is the internal structure of a work. Again, medium is what is the group or the source of the performance. form the internal structure of a work. Well, couldn't you have a genre of forms? It's like saying, let's have anything that's a square, and that would be form. And then could you have a genre of just squares? A lot of information is in it in the title. We'll look at that in another example. So in the book, we have these listening guides, right? And the content that we're going to listening to is Western art music. Art music as opposed to vernacular music, right? We use the word vernacular typically to mean that the language of the locale, right? What language do they speak? And so vernacular music is like, what is the music that is common to that area? And we would say it's popular music or traditional music as opposed to art music. Two different genres. So art music is typically notated, right? And vernacular music may not be, like popular music that we learn as children to sing from an oral tradition from our parents or grandparents. Here's an example, two examples of, it's not presented like this, but look at this. It says the title here is Symphony No. 5 in C minor, Opus 67. What does this mean? Well, it means it's telling us it is a symphony, and we'll learn what a symphony is. Typically, a symphony has 4 movements, sometimes 5 movements. And number 5, so this means that this individual wrote 4 before this one, and this is the 5th one. And it says it's in C minor. That's the tonal center of the piece of music. And it says Opus 67. And opus literally means work. And generally, composers will publish works, and the number is the order of the publication. And sometimes it's a group of publications that take place. So Opus 67 could have many pieces of music, and it might say Opus 67 number 1, number 2, or whatever. And of course, the composer in this case, Ludwig van Beethoven. The genre is a symphony, right? And we know, we'll learn that a symphony is a 4-movement work, and it's very structured. So you expect something from the first movement, a different thing from the second movement, and ordinarily a third movement that's a certain character, in the 4th movement as well. We'll learn that. And it says the medium is symphony orchestra. Remember, now it does not just say orchestra, it says symphony orchestra. It's an orchestra designed to play symphonies. Here's another example. The title, Weigenlied, Lullaby. And so this is italicized, and I can't tell you why this one is italicized, but it says it's Opus 49, number 4, composer Johannes Brahms, genre, a romantic song. And then we'll learn that what a lied is, because it tells us a lied, German. This is a German word that translates as song. And the form, strophic, remember what that is? It has stanzas, so it uses the same music, and the next stanza uses the same music. The stanza could be 4 lines or 8 lines, or usually 4 lines. Medium, solo voice, and piano. Paintings are very helpful historically to tell us about the way people lived. And you know, we can see the way this young lady dressed, and we can see what kind of room she lived in, and we see a lot about this instrument and how she's playing it, perhaps with a pick, and the way it's decorated and built, right? It's just a lot of information in a painting. We don't have photographs. And then this is a painting by Picasso, so this is not going to tell us so much on how to play the guitar. Non-Western music, Afghanistan. This is an example of a master class. You maybe hear the word master class, and you have somebody who is a master, and then you have people that audition to be able to play for the master, and this person would be really an accomplished player, not a beginner. And the audience is there to hear the lesson and what the master has to say in regards to how this person is playing and the interpretation of the music and the playing of the instrument. That's what a master class is. So what is style? There's a whole museum from the Smithsonian on the history of style. And it's a high level concept of identifying style. And that's one of the things I would like you to as a goal, try and do and learn from this class is to identify styles. You know, composers have a style, and typically it's other composers have a similar style. But from the time of Beethoven on, the individual style of the composer became more important. And prior to Beethoven, it was more a generic style. So your goal was to write a style like everybody else. And it's the way it was in the Baroque. So there was less individual style and more just a common style. And in the Romantic and later, it's more individual. But it's a lot of similarities. That's why we can all still say it's from the same style period. And we hear Western and non-Western music. It frequently sounds really weird to us, and they use different set of musical systems. That's why, you know, music from South America or Canada or United States or Italy sounds similar to our ears because it's all based on the same Western music system. And the non-Western music uses a different system, like the Tarahumara Indians or Indians from Canada or North America. They use a different system, and it sounds odd to our ears frequently. What's the common elements of how music is handled and treated? This is what style is, right? What makes it common? Generally accepted style periods. We've already looked at this, but the Middle Ages and the date 1450 is the end of the Renaissance, and about 400 is the end of the Roman Empire. And it's whether it's 450 or 417 or 475, it's not, again, like somebody rang a bell and said, okay, that's it, we're going to another style. And this is, look at this is over 1,000 years of claiming to be in the same style, but we know things change all the time, and they did. So we have these subcategories of advancement with learning and institutions and economics as far as what happened during this period of time. A lot of advancement came when like there was no money, and then but the time over here there's people using money to buy and sell as opposed to just trading. Things like that happened a lot. And then so again, Middle Ages, Renaissance, 1600, invention of opera, Baroque, so the invention of opera and to the death of Bach. Opera was such an influence on instrumental music also, and it was a major change in musical style, major change. One of the most significant changes in all of style periods is right here in 1600. And then the classical period, again, death of Bach, death of Beethoven, Romantic period up to 1900, and the craziness moving up to World War I, and then 20th century and beyond. So here is the timeline on this same stuff, right? And again, wow, Middle Ages, huge length of time, and then the other style periods change quickly from one to the next, relatively quickly. So these were examples of pieces of music. We don't have this, unfortunately, to listen to, but it's on the website. You can log in and hear this stuff. Well, so I guess that's the end of chapter 12.